What if the future is not something we wait for, but something we carry? What if unity isn't just a dream, but a sacred instruction woven into the prophecies of our ancestors? As we reach 162 days from the golden intersection of timelines, we enter a threshold unlike any before. The codes of the sixth sun are now awakening, and with them, an invitation to remember, to reconnect, and to walk forward as one. Welcome to Carriers of the Sixth Sun, Unity, Prophecy, and the Emergent Earth.
Tune in with the Galactic Spin podcast and expand your view.
In Lakesh, and greetings to one and all. Welcome to the Galactic Spin podcast. My name is Mikuak Rai, Kin 126. I'm honored to be your host on this journey, along with my dear brother Ruben Llinás, co-host Kin 113, brother like no other, from the Divine Mother. We give great thanks. Brother Ruben, in Lakesh to you.
In Lakesh, to you, Brother Makua, and to everyone tuning in to the Galactic Spin on this episode number 31 of this sacred journey towards the golden intersection of timelines. So excited today about having this conversation with a Mayan Day Keeper and being able to learn from them and to also share perspectives on what the two counts have to tell each other. So excited to have this conversation today.
Absolutely. It's quite an auspicious occasion. As you mentioned, this is episode 31 of a 52 episode stretch, 52 weeks to cover an entire year leading up to this auspicious moment this coming October. So indeed, we are grateful to be here, and we give thanks for everybody tuning in. Let's check and see. I don't have my chat up or anything. I know our team, shout out to Ishel. She is in the background in the studio helping folks on the YouTube live side. So we encourage folks to participate, tune in, take some notes, copy the links we share, and also take this occasion to like and subscribe to the Harmonic Factor on YouTube so you can be alerted on upcoming episodes of this podcast and other great content that we do produce and publish on that platform. And I'm going to look and see if I can find my chat here in a moment. But I think without further ado, it's probably best that we just go right in. There's so much happening, but I think it's worth going right in and tapping in with the Earth's pulse.
Yeah, the opening was amazing. Shout out to Giselle because she did an amazing job with this opening.
Yeah, very, very beautiful, as always, but certainly very, very beautiful for tonight's episode, very relevant and deeply appreciated. But thank you with that, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get right on into it. And as we do, let me make sure we bring Ruben in here. There we go. As we do every episode, we like to tap in, check in with the Earth's pulse. And there is absolutely a major action, activity, transformation. I don't know what you want to call it. There's a lot underway with our local star right now. So maybe you want to jump right in on that.
Yes, brother. Well, on on the day one of the current wave spell that we entered on, on a couple of days ago, today we're on the third day, we noticed that there was a major activity in the sun, and this is a screenshot from spaceweather.com that was speaking precisely about that, and this is of course something that has many layers of synchronicity, because this activity is correlated to other episodes that on this wave wavespell the sun has been presenting like a major spike of activity. So there is some sort of telepathic connection, as above so below. We put this post on social media a couple of days ago, and it went kind of viral because people are noticing these connections between we talk about solar consciousness, no? So this solar consciousness is expressing itself through number and through the solar activity and the correlation to the numbers. Let's remember that the word kin comes from the Maya kinich ahau. That is the deity connected to the sun. So every day there is a kin, is a sun. So it has a frequency, and it happens that on the frequency of the yellow magnetic sun, we have this activity on the sun, a solar wind of 700 kilometers, which is 1.6 million miles per hour. It's difficult to imagine something going at that speed. Let's remember that 1.6 is a fractal also of the golden ratio. And there was the emergence of a very big sunspot that is the largest one from this Gregorian year 2025. It stretches 104,000 kilometers across the solar disk. Also, like something that is difficult for our minds to grasp. But the number 140 also connects to another of Kin 140 yellow planetary sun. So that's why we are saying that this has different layers of connectivity through the number. And this sunspot is comparing this node to the Carrington sunspot that in the year 1859 was the origin of the largest solar flare that the Earth has received, and the most potent one, the one with most radiation. Let's remember that the solar flares are connected to also electromagnetic radiation. And that every time that the sun presents this activity, there is a release of plasma or a release of radiation, depending on the kind of activity that it has. But in the year 1859, that flare basically fried at the time was the telegraph network. So a lot of the communications were interrupted, and this is what may happen if this sunspot decides to flare. So right now is crossing the is around the midpoint of the solar disk, and scientists are a little bit surprised that it hasn't presented any flaring more than a few C coronal mass ejections, class C. So the idea is that we keep an eye on this because it takes around, in order for the sun to complete one orbit, it takes around 28 days to 33 days. So it's going to be this sunspot, sunspot number 4079. Again, the number 40 is preceding the sunspot, like the Kin 40. It will take some days more. So we will see what happens, and especially because it started with the wavespell, anything can happen within the next few days.
Also, 79 being the noospheric constant It's quite
Yes.
an interesting matching of 40 and 79 with that many days. Also, 39 days basically. It's like practically the
Yes.
duration of the phasing of the sun in this case. So fantastic. Now, as above, so below, as you were mentioning. So activities.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And let's remember that in a couple of days, on May 7th, which is the sixth day of this spectral moon, because now we are on the 11th moon of the 13th moon year, Kin 44, the yellow overtone seed, we will have the papal conclave to elect a new pope. And we already discussed in depth during the last two episodes what that event of the death of Pope Francis represented, the many layers of synchronicity. So there is a big expectation now, especially that the President of the United States posted in social media an AI-generated image of himself as Pope. So there is a lot of conversation going on. There is a lot of also noise in the web. But what we are examining here is the synchronicity with this episode in particular, that this conclave is going to take place on the ancient Maya long count on the day 13 Ahau, which is the last day of the 260-day count. It's the frequency of 1320, the number 13, the tone 13, and the seal 20. And let's remember that the funeral of Pope Francis took place on Kin 33, which is also the sum of those two numbers, 20 and 13 is 33. So the fact also that both are master numbers or double numbers, double-digit numbers. So his replacement, or at least the meeting to elect his replacement, will take on Kin 44, his funeral on Kin 33, and it's going to take place on a cosmic Sunday on the equivalent of the dream spell count, which is the day keeper 13 Ahau or 13 Ajpu. In Maya, we will have our guest to correct us if we are saying this correctly, but the name is Oxlahun Ajpu or Oxlahun Ahau would be the day for the day keeper. And the fact that is the most important aspect of the sun, which is the tone 13, or the most, let's say, complete, because it connects the 13 and the 20 in one single energy. So this is a very, very important aspect to take into consideration, because the Pope represents kind of that figure, the father figure, like the father son in the church. The Pope represents that kind of energy. So the fact that the conclave is synchronizing with that event is really important.
I'd say so, and the whole world seems to be watching as this is happening. So certainly important to keep attuned to, as you mentioned, as above, so below. This is, again, a very auspicious series of events that we're witnessing unfold in real time. And the impact of the solar aspect cannot be overlooked or understated, I believe.
Yeah, and especially we forgot to mention also that this wave spell also is synchronizing with May 1st, which was the day before, or the last day of the planetary moon, and the day before, but it's around those dates that there is the ceremonies of Beltane, or the cross-quarter festivals, which are the midpoints in between seasons. So May 1st always signals with that festival of fire, especially in the northern cultures, like in the UK. It's celebrated as a festival of life. So there's fires in different places that are kind of celebrating that awakening of the power of the sun. So this is a very sacred time also, and we will see more layers on the second layer of this podcast, which is the next section.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and sink in and tune up. And as we are tracking, for those who've been taking this journey along with us, you know that we are in the blue rhythmic storm year, NS 1.37, in the new time frequency, as far as this is concerned. And I'm excited to get into tonight's conversation because we can do a bit of synthesizing and sense making as to the purpose of this calendar in relationship with others. And just to recognize there's really no conflict, there's really the effect of harmonization. And so as we continue to tune in, we know that we're also now navigating into the spectral moon of liberation.
Yeah, this 11th moon is synchronized by 1 day with the Gregorian calendar. So basically it started on May 2nd, which would be day 1 of this moon. So it's going to be easy to remember the day of the moon, because for most people who are just following the Gregorian calendar, you just have to really subtract 1 day to get the day of the moon. So May 2nd would be day 1 of the 11th moon, May 3rd would be day 2, and May 4th would be day 3, and now today we're on day 4 of the spectral moon of liberation.
So looking at this frequency overlay, we also see here this entire year, as we move into this, is influenced by the yellow human energy. And I think this is going to be very resonant for tonight's conversation, because yellow human, it turns out, is featuring frequently and in very important points in the timing of the synchronization of these different counts. And we'll get into an explanation of that in a little bit. But there is a powerful synchronization. In fact, we published an article on the Facebook page, Harmonic Convergence 2020 to 2028, earlier about this matter. And it was also included in the text for the wave spell, this current wave spell of the yellow sun. But certainly an important synchronization to recognize that this is all really happening in and as the human. The human is evolving along with, it's also like the recognition that the human's evolution is counter supporting the evolution of the planet receiving its own greater layer of consciousness, or what we refer to as the noosphere.
Yeah, we can also perceive each 13 wave spell or 13 unit of time as a story or a song. And let's say that in this song, the main theme of the entire song for the year is the human, and how we can connect with that genuine human that can really transcend its shadows and its disconnection with each other and with the planet, and really through wisdom influence the process of evolution on Earth in a positive way, not in a destructive way. So this entire year has like 13 stages or 13 moons, and in this case, in this fractal count of 13 kin equals 13 moons, this entire moon is coded by the white spectral wind. So today, being a wind day, within the wind moon, we have a double energy. So it's important, everything that is being communicated today, we pay close attention, especially because if this is kin 102, and if we add kin 102 to the kin of the day, which is 42, we have kin 144, which is a key number within the entire prophetic stream. So this moon of liberation is an invitation to all of us to really ask ourselves the question, how can I or how can we release and let go of all those aspects that are no longer serving us as humanity and individually as persons. So this energy of the spectral tone, which is dissolution, liberation, it's an invitation really to do that, to let go and dissolve everything that needs to dissolve, especially our shadow aspects and all the obstacles that we put to ourselves. Basically, we are really the directors, the protagonists, and the writers of the script that is taking place on Earth. So it's important to recognize that in order to really take this process in a more empowering way, because some people can fall into really negative perspectives of what is happening on Earth right now with everything that is going on. But really, it's an invitation to reconnect with our power as humans, to change the script.
Certainly, and it looks like we have some things highlighted here. You have the yellow sun wave spell on the calendar grid highlighted. And
yeah, this entire moon has a few things. In 7 days, we are going to celebrate Wesak, which is the full moon in Taurus that is connected to the festival of the Buddha. We will speak more on that on the wave spell slide. And on day 22 of this 11th moon, we also have a beautiful celebration, which is World Turtle Day, that we always kind of emphasize because it's Heptat 44, day 22, and Moon 11. So we have the master numbers there, guarded by the turtle. And in this case, May 23rd, which is always celebrated World Turtle Day, which is kind of the totem of the 13th moon, the totem of longevity, of patience, of time. It's going to be connected to the energy of Kin 60, which is another sun, and it's the Kin 60 is the equivalent of 8 Ahau, which is the signature of the birth signature of Pakal Botan, the Mayan sage and prophet who kind of left the prophecy and the clues to help us navigate this entire process of evolution on Earth. So the fact that the World Culture Day is synchronizing with his energy is also very auspicious. And this, what we were highlighting there was also the yellow wave spell will go until the midpoint of this moon. And here we see it on the 1320 matrix. This wave spell of the sun goes from Kin 40 to Kin 52. And we are closing on day 52, the first 52-day cycle of the Soul Kin 53. 54, that we started 52 days ago from that endpoint. So this is the cycle, red cycle of 52 days that is called a castle, and is a cycle of initiation. So red initiates, white refines, blue transforms, yellow ripens, and the green one, we go into the center and we synthesize and synchronize. And this is the full infographic for this waste bill. So there's a lot going on, as we can see, because we included a bit more of important events that are happening. But let's say that since we are honoring the energy of the sun during this entire cycle, our guest today also was born under that energy on the traditional count. And day Wanahau in the traditional count was revered as the most sacred day of Venus. We wanted to highlight it here. What we see on the first day of this waste bill is a picture of the Dresden Codex. In the Dresden Codex, which is the one of the 4 remaining codices that are still kept in museums in Europe. The cycles of Venus are always starting on day Wanahau. So this is the equivalent of the magnetic Sunday, but it's not the same. It's just we need to make sure that this is not a part of the cosmology of the Galactic Maya. This is part of the traditional Maya count. So on the day Wanahau is the day when Venus will emerge as a morning star before the sun on the day Keeper Wanahau. And this will synchronize every 104 years, 104 years. So we spoke a little bit about this in prior episodes, but this is a cycle that, because it takes 104 years to complete for the sun to re-emerge as Wanahau, it was revered as sacred because it's basically 2 calendar rounds of 52 years each. And it took several generations to keep that observation and that tracking alive for many, many years. And the fact that these sunspot 4079 emerge on that day and synchronize with the solar wind stream is really powerful, because it's also highlighting this entrance to this cycle through the solar activity. And the next day, precisely, we have another synchronization, which is Kin 41, the red lunar dragon, is the signature of the next Venus transit that will take place in the year 2117 on December 10. That day will be on the dream spell count, will be Kin 41, not on the indigenous Maya. But it is important because it's synchronizing precisely both counts. It's not the emergence of Venus as morning star, but it's the passing of Venus through the solar disk. Those are 2 different events. Usually when the planet passes through the sun, then the emergence as morning star will take place 8 days later or so. So, and every time that a conjunction, an internal conjunction takes place, which is when the moment that Venus is passing in between the sun and the earth, this happens, that the conjunction takes place, and then 8 to 10 days later, the planet is emerging as the morning star. And the importance of the synchronization in 130 Solkins is that 130 is a perfect half of 260. So it's an important marker, because it's half of a hologram of 260 cycles of 260 days each. And the fact that it's happening also on December 10th, which is the discovery of the law of time, is going to be the 128th anniversary of the discovery of the law of time on December 10, 1989, on self-existing dragon day, Kin 121. This is special because number 128 is also part of that central column. If we were kind of counting each year as a kin, the 128th year will be almost also one half of a cycle of 260 years. So we have those numbers that play fractally to let us know that there are important synchronizations taking place. Number 128 is only one number away from 130. So we have 128 years from the discovery connected with 130 Solkins to the Venus transit. And that's something to highlight there. And of course, the next day is today, which is this white electric wind. Today we honor also on a personal level, I'm honoring my father, which is going through his birthday 85. And of course, your son, which is our inspiration for all this work, and all the time that we invest in this is for the new generation. So he's part of our daily inspiration, and we give thanks for his presence today. And then on day 5, which is the yellow overtone seed, we have that synchronization that we will explain in detail in the next few slides before we jump in. I don't know if we want to go and let's examine those slides, or we just go over the wave spell and go deeper into that after we finish. What do you feel?
Are you suggesting we invite our guest in now?
No.
I
was suggesting to go to the next slide and explain
I
why
see.
is
I see.
important.
Okay.
Or if we want to really just go over the entire cycle, and then we make emphasis on just on that one day, because that will give us probably a best approach to the conversation, so that we can merge both counts into one conversation.
Yeah, I think I'd like to actually bring our guest in for
Okay.
this section, because I think this is the part where, of course, his expertise, his orientation to this is, very relevant to the conversation. While
Of
we
course.
share sort of the synchronization that we're observing, it'll be great to compare notes with him. And so I know he's been waiting patiently as well in the background. And so as we're navigating this organically, we can obviously decide to shift, but I want to go ahead and bring him into the mix if we can, and we give great thanks. And without further ado, we want to go ahead and welcome our guest, Tata Jose. Greetings to you. Can you hear us?
I can hear you well. Thank you, Matthias.
We hear you beautifully well also. It's a really tremendous honor for us to welcome you into this space, as we've been having the honor of observing your work from a distance over the past few years, really appreciating what you're doing and how you're really anchoring your purpose in a very clear way. So thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight and navigate this conversation, because we're absolutely interested in arriving to higher harmony, a cosmic unity in our efforts together on the planet at this time, in service to the mother, in service to the future, and everything sacred. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I think without further ado, as you can hear in the backstage, the conversation we're having, we wanted to invite you in at this time, which is a little rare. We usually don't do this, but I wanted to invite you in because, again, you are grounding very much your wisdom tradition. You're anchoring that, and we are honoring that tonight, as we also try to do in our work with the harmonic factor, emphasis on harmony. And how we can really see the connection and the synchronization between all these systems, and in particular, the system that you are a daykeeper and timekeeper for. So I want to ask you to maybe share a little bit with us about your your role in relationship to that, your ceremonial role and your purpose as a timekeeper, a daykeeper.
Well, I prophesize, I walk the calendars of the Cholki or Tzolkin, also the Ha'av, the agricultural calendar, and also the Sixon calendar, which also was born or finished, I should say, in 1987. And I was moved by our speaker earlier regarding Ajpu 13th, how that is, and how we honor that energy, interstellar, intergalactic, however you want to call it, energy. And so my role is really to bridge all calendars, all systems. I am an active member of the Kailasa family, which are the carriers, the timekeepers of the Yugas. And so the 26,000 year calendar that started sometime between 1987 and now, um, that's my role as it pertains to this conversation. My role is to be a bridge between the systems, and I can assist for all of those who are really seeking a unified consciousness, unified feel, unified time, and unified spirituality in the etheric or grounded here in the physical. These are the important things that I feel I can bring as an assistance to what you are already doing. Be the bridge between those systems and now. And what resonates the most with me now is the six-on calendar, which started in December 22nd of 2012 and started on Emosh 5, which is to us, those people who deliver the calendar system and those of us who keep it, is the new calendar for the new world, a new paradigm. And the mathematical equations instead of 1320, or in addition to 1320, is 1725. And this is why I mention it, and to giving thanks to our speaker mentioning Ajpu 13 in the system of the six-sun calendar. We have what we call Ajpu 17. So imagine what you guys are already doing with the tones and the energies, and bring it up a notch to Ajpu 17. And I feel like this conversation was prophesied, in what I call the ancient future, that we will be here at this time, particularly to bring this to a broader audience of interstellar travelers, which are all of us who are having these conversations about time. Because the crossroads where we are is the time that we really were born to come together and reestablish the new archetypes of balance, unity, joy, peace, and interstellar harmony. So that's what I like to say, that if you ask me for a role, what's my role? I like to be the bridge into what you're already doing and add a little piece of the puzzle to that greater good.
Mm-hmm. Well, that absolutely resonates with us. And we truly appreciate you being on purpose in the fullness that you are. Thank you for being that bridge. And I do also appreciate you saying that this conversation, in fact, is part of the tapestry that is happening. It's happening now, was perhaps meant to happen at this appointed time. And so we're very, very grateful for that. And I think we paused in our presentation because we wanted to bring you in the conversation as a bridge, as we've been really looking at the various calendar lenses as well, trying to learn and appreciate how they synchronize and the scales at which they do synchronize and harmonize. And with that, I want to put something on the screen. And maybe perhaps, Ruben, you can also speak to this as well, as you did pull the graphic together. But this refers to what's something we call the unified cosmic time. So it's the combination then of the galactic signature of a day and the traditional Tzolkin daykeeper of the day. And so we call that again UCT, or the unified cosmic time. And there's a few points that we want to touch on with you, because your daykeeper number for Ahau, that's how I've learned to say it, but I know that in your language, in the Quiche, is this correct, that for Ajpu, or how would I say that? I want to say it correctly.
Yeah, it's Kahibahpu or for Ajpu.
Ajpu. Ajpu. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And with that, we have recognized that that marker occurs in the near future, appearing basically in sync with this date we've come to call the golden intersection of timelines. And so as we're looking at this process, your particular kin, or that marker, is the rallying point, actually, in terms of the grounding for what is coming from the ancient past and synchronizing with these other future markers now. It's remarkable. And so the auspiciousness of you actually embodying that very number is not lost on me. So we just wanted to acknowledge that, and perhaps Ruben as well, if you have anything to add as we look at the image also on the screen.
Well, first of all, giving thanks to Tata for Tata Jose for his presence on this episode, and for being that emanation of for Ajpu, and connecting the being in by just by being born that day, being that bridge that connects past, present, and future. Because for those people who are not aware, well, the Mayan calendar, or the 13th Baktun cycle of the long count, started on a day for Ahau or for Ajpu, and December 21st, 2012, the conclusion of that 13th Baktun cycle of approximately 5,125 years also ended on day 1 Ajpu. So the fact that the golden intersection of timelines is going to synchronize with the anniversary of the Gregorian calendar, 443 years, that day, precisely, the Gregorian calendar completes a perfect fractal of the golden number, and 161,803 days. Well, for that day will be 802, but it will conclude the interval to reach the golden number next day. And the fact that, according to the study of one Mayan scholar who also left this planet on a day 1 Ajpu, in 2017, John Major Jenkins, this the day 160 of the 260-day count represents the golden section of that cycle of 260 days. So, and this is mathematical. This is part of the beauty of he, in one of his books, in calendar studies, that he examines the importance of these different calendars. He acknowledges that one of the main aspects that makes all this science so sacred is that it's embedded within the golden ratio. And the fact that that marker marks the beginning and the end of the 13 Baktun count, and now it's also connected 18 cycles of 260 days later, and 13 tunes later, which is 13 cycles of 360 days. On that moment, when the Gregorian calendar reaches that point of harmony, well, it's just remarkable, and it's just something that is the inspiration for this entire broadcast. And while preparing for this episode, well, we were making sure that we were honoring the fact that we are also reaching in a couple of days the end of that 260-day count, with the signature of 13 Ajpu, and when we notice that it's synchronizing with the election of the new pope, then we kind of saw the connections, the aspects of the old paradigm and the new paradigm kind of meeting and emerging with greater harmony, with the let's say that under the auspicious presence of that energy of for a how are going to blend into harmony. And we had an opportunity on October 14, 15 to really transcend that dichotomy of colonization and what happened and all the karma from the past, and kind of liberate ourselves from that. But it requires, of course, internal preparation. It requires also work. This is not just a romantic idea. It requires for us as humanity that we do the inner work. And not the universe is really synchronizing us on this year to prepare ourselves for that synchronization, doing that inner work. And that's why we honor your presence, Tata Jose, and we honor the energy of your birth sign. And this is such a, like you mentioned at the beginning, such a momentous episode for us, because we are actually on the next episode, we are reaching the golden section of an entire series of 52 episodes. Episode 32 will mark the golden section. So this is a really beautiful opportunity to just give thanks and surrender to this greater harmony that is all around us, that we don't have sometimes the ability to appreciate, but thanks to the wisdom of the day keepers like you, who is part of a 23 generations of people that have been tracking these cycles to keep us. We were speaking yesterday with Brother Mikuak that 23 generations is approximately 460 years, which is more than the Gregorian calendar. So there is that bridge to the moment before the arrival of the Gregorian calendar, and this is an amazing synchronicity to have you today here, and we just wanted to honor that by making this example of what is happening on this day of the conclave, that a new pope is going to be elected. Let's remember that it was a pope who instituted this Gregorian calendar, Pope Gregory XIII, and that if we add both energies, the energy of the traditional or indigenous Maya count with the energy of the Galactic Maya or the count of the dream spell, we get to this mathematical process. We add the days or the representation of that day, which is number 260, plus day 44 of our count, or this in Galactic Maya count that we work with in this broadcast. And we get the number 304, and we subtract 260 days to see what is the energy that is remaining, or the frequency. We call it frequency. So in the next slide, we did like a tentative definition of what this unified cosmic time is all about. So universal cosmic time, UCT, refers to the order of time established every day by adding the sulking date on the ancestral Maya count and the sulking date on the Galactic Maya count, and reducing it to its most elemental expression, the kin number. This allows us to gain a unified view of the frequency of the day and perceive a new hidden layer of harmony within these two expressions of natural time. As Jose Arguelles well put it years ago, the two counts actually constitute a prophetic alliance. There is no conflict. The law of time embraces both systems in the higher fourth dimensional order of truth. This simple act of adding the signatures reveals a new dimension of unification. So that's what we have been really working on since 2012, is working on both aspects, the indigenous aspect and the, let's say, the cosmic aspect, which is the connection with the stars and the star people, and bridging those two into one frequency that we can work with. And Brother McCoy, if you want to add something about what that process of synchronization that is taking place between both counts.
Yeah, so what we have discovered is that there is a future point at which these counts actually synchronize, and then they both embody the same frequency for a period of 4 years. And that does not occur until the year 2208 in the Gregorian count. So it's well into the future, over 180 years from now. However, we can appreciate the fractal purpose of this in terms of the long generations process of synchronization, that we're here at this point in embodiment doing our part, that this seeds the ability and the codes for the future, and those who will be future carriers of these knowledge bases to do their part to lead toward this greater synchronization. So we do talk about that in a post we released earlier today and mentioned it yesterday in the Wavespell post, but referring to it as bridging, as you said to us, you being a bridge, you are truly an embodiment of this bridging sacred time where the traditional and the galactic Zolkin counts are not in conflict, but two mirrors of a greater harmonic. And from 3114 BCE to 1987, on to 2208, we are living in this long span convergence. It takes obviously quite a while for these things to happen on a galactic or cosmic scale. But on March 1st, 2208, both the traditional and the galactic counts synchronize on Kin 212, or 4 Eb in the Quiche. I assume maybe you can share that with us as well. What would the character be in your language, but for what is yellow self-existing human, or what we also know as 4 Eb? But that for that period, that is a synchronization window for 4 years, which is, yeah.
Yeah, so on that date, according to all knowledge being spoken here and for the next years until that day comes into fruition, yeah, it's why we call that Kahib or Kahib Ev, is that would be the beginning of the shining path. That's if I was an elder, that's how I would put it to the people. We're beginning of the shining path. And the good thing about the teachings of the 6 sun calendar or the unified field, the galactic calendar, the cosmic Maya, as we are saying it today, we don't have to wait for the future. And that's the practice, the daily practice of what we do. Because we have all of this amazing information that is flowing to the audiences, to the people who are listening. And those who actually listen and want to embrace this is a friendly reminder that we do not need to wait for the future. We are moving with time, or rather, time is moving through us, or rather, we are moving forward to the future. So when you add those three together, there is no need to wait for the future, so we can bring 2208 to the now. And start practicing this next this next gallery. Start practicing the shining path. What will happen from 2208? So we start, projecting from then on. If time is already now, then March of 2208 is already here. So how are the human and every turn of every energy going to be acting and reacting from then on. This is a great opportunity to start this conversation about those uh, things and that we can do uh, together to bring it into reality, into the now. So let's not wait until 2208 to start the shining path.
Mm. Well said and well received. Let's start now. We're here right now. Let's do this. Maybe Ruben, you want to articulate what you have here? You pulled this one together on screen. We can see.
Yes, here we see like there's different calculators that we can find online, but we like the starroot.com app because it gives us in one shot the two energies. So as we can see here, Tuesday, March 1st of 2208, which happens to be the 23rd day of 8th moon, so the day before, which is February 28th, 228, is day 22 of the 8th moon. So we have like a mirror there in between both calendars. And as we can see on the dream spell is the self-existing human, and on the Mayan Solkin or the traditional Solkin is for Ep, or as Tata Jose mentioned, Kahek, Ep, or I don't know the name in Maya for number 4, but that would be the match. They represent both the same energy. There is no misrepresentation. And the table that we see below is the part of an article that we wrote on Medium last March 1st, 2024, which was the day before, the day after the leap day of 2024, just to make, let's say, a note towards the future. Although we understand that that future is now, and we give thanks for that. But in that article, we go into detail on how the two counts have been synchronizing. This is a long process of synchronization that takes 220 years, from 1987 to 2008. But really from 1988, because that was the first leap year in that interval. And what happens is that every February 29th, the Galactic Maya count stops, and the traditional Maya keeps going. That's what makes the two counts converge in the year 2208, because basically the difference, as we can see here, between both counts at the beginning of that period, when one count was born, which is the Galactic Maya, the difference was 54 kin, or 54 days. And now it's 44, because 10 leap years have elapsed since 1987 to the present moment. So once we redeem, or once all those leap years have come to pass, in the year 2208, the two counts will synchronize for the first time. But since everything is happening in the now, well, we are doing it now so that we can just bring that moment into the present, and that moment into the future, into the present. That's why we named this article Ancient Future Synchronization at the Heart of Time. It was published on Medium on March 1st, 2024. So we invite everyone to check it out if you want to really go deep into the many aspects of synchronization that took place. And we can see how, like, there is a dance happening between both systems, and that there are years in which we can see the resonance really emerging with so much clarity and precision that is really inspiring and really amazing to witness, and to have someone like you, of course, today having this conversation with us is a relief and an honor, because sometimes we don't know how this can be received. So the fact that you are receiving it with such grace is such a really beautiful opportunity for us to know that we are on the right, on the same path as you are.
And as a carrier of the sixth sun, as you're sharing with us, it sounds to me that's a very specific energy, a very specific responsibility. And you mentioned the five emosh as the energy of basically December 22nd, 2012, right? The beginning of that next Baktun cycle. And as you carry that, it's profound. I guess on some level, I'd like to know how, in your own preparation for this, how were you initiated in this way? That when that time arrived, obviously you've been holding this energy, or as a carrier of this energy. But speak a little bit about your own initiation process, to whatever degree you may be able to. I'm just curious, because obviously it's a lot to carry that at this time, it seems. But you're well grounded in that light, it seems. So love to learn more.
Yeah, when you're born as a timekeeper with the bloodlines. In my case, it was 22 generations through my mother and 13 generations through my father. So I got it from both ends, from the Cachiquel and the Maya, which is it's a no-no. Those two don't cross. uh, just a traditional way of seeing things. These are the warriors, the defenders of freedom, and these are the scientists and the nanas, the medicine men and women. So usually those bloodlines don't exist together or coexist. And this, I'm speaking about traditionally, but in reality, they were always mingling with each other. So I'm one of those. And through that, they're waiting for you, and they know who you are before you're born. So they've been counting. Mother has been counting the days, and when you're born, they throw you in the water. The doula or comadrona or the person who receives you, they throw you in the body of water, either a lake or a river. And then, if you are who they think you are, then you rise up and take a walk, an initial 2 or 3 or 4 steps, and start talking or mumbling, however you perceive the language of the baby. And then you train for 13 years with parents and grandparents, grandmothers in what we call a house of learning. So we learn all the sciences, and then later on, at 13 in my case, you go off to the world to preach or to advocate, to talk about cosmology, and with a single message. And in my case, it was very simple. It was just to tell the people of the world, the chieftresses and the chiefs, the heads of the village, to let them know, to tell their people that the world was not going to end in 2012. So from 13 all the way to 2012, that was my message. And in right around 2011, I received the codices of the new mantle, what had been produced by traditional keepers of time from the Hopi people of the Third Mesa, from the Mayan elders, and also from people from Tibet. And it's a longer story, but in essence, that's how I walked the walk and did pay my duty to be able to receive that. And I'm not the only one who carried that. The first person I gave it to was Angangak, which is the leader of the tribes of um, Greenland. So there's the group of people who
Wow.
are carrying this to the world, and it's going to take 400 years from 2012 for these new teachings and sciences, new modalities of things happening, bringing through the mathematics for the service of humanity to be completed. So we're barely, as you know, we're in year 13. So we're getting there.
We're getting there slowly but surely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that background, though. That's really a beautiful telling for us to appreciate how deeply this is with you, in you, your being. And you mentioned Anagnak. I mean, he's a powerful, wonderful elder as well, as you mentioned, from Greenland and the Inuwa uh, tradition. Just a powerful, powerful elder. I had a chance to sit with him in the year 2014 for a few days up in Northern California. But certainly, wow, just a beautiful, beautiful thing. I want to also mention congratulations to you and to your wife on the birth of your new daughter. I wanted
Yeah.
to speak to that as well and celebrate that today. You did.
Yeah.
That's just remarkable. Thank you so much for.
Yeah. I actually received the baby in the floor of our restroom in our room, which is
Hmm.
pretty remarkable. She was born on Earth Day on April 22nd, and my wife was very. She's so amazing that she always wanted the baby to be born in the mountain, which is about an hour from the hospital. And in my case, I'm a scientist for trade, so I wanted the baby to be in a facility with everything, all the whistles, bells and whistles that are normal here in the Western society. But then at the end, neither one of us, Wakami decided to be born, and she just started pushing. As we were getting ready to leave the mountain, it takes an hour, 11.11 miles to get to the place. Uh, we just made a decision. Okay, it's the day of Can, it's the day of the serpent, the red serpent. We're not going to be able to make it to the office. Let's just do it. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It's quite a thing to deliver a baby, your own baby, in the floor of your restroom. But that's what happens when you're timekeepers. Is the beauty of being a timekeeper. You are always seeing the future, so you know exactly what to do in the next step, the next turn. Everything is already happening at the same time, so you have this holographic analysis of the event where you're able to do amazing things like deliver your own baby.
Wow.
Thank you for bringing it.
Well, thank you. You shared some beautiful pictures. I hope you don't mind us sharing here. I just wanted to celebrate that and acknowledge your beautiful new arrival on Earth Day, no less. Wow, so beautiful. Now, in the tradition, what is her daykeeper? So she was born on Chichan or the serpent?
Yes, she was born on the day of the serpent, and hence her name, Wakami Rubican,
Mm.
the red serpent. And Wakami is an ancient Mayan ceremonial language word that means it's here already now, instant manifestation. What Wakami means.
Mm. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Let's talk a little bit also about your ceremonial center, because I know that is something. Since I had a chance to meet you a few years ago, this was just in the process of manifesting, and
Hmm.
and I've had a chance from a distance over social media to watch you gradually develop this over the past few years. But share with us a little bit about the purpose and one of the things that stands out to me is the size, 160-acre area. And again, that's the number of your daykeeper as well. So a beautiful synchronicity in that. But would love to hear more about this beautiful Hummingbird Sky Island Mayan Ceremonial Center.
Yes, so it is open for everyone to come and visit, go on, um, do ceremony. It is intended to be from the people for the people. very accessible as far as how easy it is to be part of it. Uh, their vision um, is number 13 of 144 Mayan calendar dream catchers manifestation stations, where prophesied these stations are to be a navigation map for our future selves when we come back in 2022 or 8 and beyond, to remember that we have been here. And so there's a specific 144 of these locations are being built or have been established already in the future. So far, this is number 13. We started in um, the Shuman's lands in Santa Barbara. Then we went to South Dakota, Pine Ridge, Little Eagle Reservation. We have Phoenix in New Mexico, and we have this one happens to be number 13. I didn't design it that way; it just happened. But I came in and made a pinky promise purchase of the land from these three elders who have been establishing this ceremonial center as far as the plant medicine was. There's 5 altars for the plant medicines, and also the 13 grandmothers were launched from the living room next to the room where Wakami was born. Um, so it has a historical importance to humanity, to the people who seek advice in all realms. And also, it is said to be one of the first or the first settlement after the Ice Age ended, human ceremonial center. And so it's a profound way of landing into something that you called in, because I did call this in a ceremony in Mount Shasta. So it came and now it's here, and now it's really about establishing it, sharing it, and let's keep the vision going. Where ultimately, this whole mathematical sequence of events, what it is, this is a place where the children listen to the elders, and the elders listen to the children around a sacred fire, and really around the dining table. Lately, we have elders and children who come and enjoy, and we have fun in the ceremonial center. But it is here for all of us, for all of you to come and enjoy for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and you're all welcome to come.
Well, thank you so much for that warm invitation, and for those out there in attunement with that invitation as well. Certainly, be in touch, and they can find out more about the site on Facebook, for example. If they put in Hummingbird Sky Island Mayan Ceremonial Center, they'll be able to find it through Facebook. I also found this great image you shared on your Instagram, I think, recently. Tell us a little bit about this. Is this on the land itself? Was this one of your pieces?
Yeah, this is actually the one that where I call this piece of land into existence with a few others actually. One of them was Guru Jagat. Guru Jagat is a Kundalini yoga leader and power of the female nation, and we did this manifestation ceremonies in the Zion National Park and at Mount Shasta. And this picture that I have here is a one of those calendars that we put at Mount Shasta through for at that time over 70 yoginis and Kundalini yoga practitioners came down to manifest what they needed for their evolutionary path of spirituality. But that is the 25 symbols of the 6-month calendar, include the 20 traditional cosmic identities and also the new cosmic identities, which are balance, unity, joy, peace, and harmony. So that is a dream, Mayan calendar dreamcatcher manifestation station that is mobile. So it's about 13 feet And yeah, I build those with, of course, following the advising mathematical advice of the ancient and the future ones from the Mayan lands and Mexico and some from South America too. So it's a combination of inclusiveness. Everybody's welcome. Let's put this together. Let's project and manifest together. Yeah.
Beautiful. Which brings us to also your website. I wanted to mention this just for folks who wanted to learn more and follow up with you and learn more about your ceremonial work and maybe ways they can become involved. But I wanted to share at least the some of the awesome images I found from your website, and just to be able to share that with folks as well. The ancientfuturetechnologies.com. I want to make sure we put that in the live chat as well for people to go ahead and visit the website. But you and your wife, it looks like, have a wonderful array of services that you provide there. I know among them the Mayan astrology and cosmology readings, as well as your Mayan calendar teachings, Mayan elemental ceremonies, and the Mayan abdominal sessions and trainings, among other services. You have some beautiful crystal skulls. We see a couple of examples right there in the image, but some beautiful, beautiful pieces as well for people to learn more about and, find ways that they can support. I'm sure that I would like to ask, with people supporting the ancient future technologies, does some of that support also go into the space, the sky, the hummingbird sky island? Is it connected?
Directly,
Okay.
100%. And really quick on that, because the crystal skulls are
Yeah,
used to manifest and to heal. So I just want to really quick share this ones here.
please.
Say hello to peace, harmony, and love.
Okay. Peace,
Yeah.
harmony,
So
and love.
yeah, I just wanted to share those. Those came from Riam, from Mongolia,
Mm.
and they have been. It's one of the reasons why we created or are created, co-creating this land is that there's a crystal cave for the crystal skulls from all over the world that we have.
Wow. Wow. So if I have a crystal skull, could I bring mine there and then
Absolutely.
join that? That's amazing. Wonderful. That reminds me of the work also of Hunbat's men. Did you ever have a chance to work with him directly?
I sure did. And uh, one of the things that he transferred onto me or uh, really supported me for bringing this forward to the new world was Jogha, which is
So you have mine.
yoga,
Yeah.
the Mayan yoga. So I carry that. We are in a stage of our lives where the time and the space are precious. So we have to pick and choose exactly when and how we're going to share what we are able to share. And right now, the emergency or the urgency of creating the pockets of survivors, communities that are self-sufficient, 144 of those around the world. That's really the focus, and this is one of them. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But yeah, Humbert's man is one of my dear brothers, dear brother, grandpa, teacher, uncle. And
Wonderful.
I still stay in touch with Diana, one of the main recipients of the knowledge of Humbert's man. She's around. She's ready. She has been sharing in the background with everybody else.
Okay.
Uh, Whoever is up to share the Humbert's man knowledge, she's here. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, we had a chance, Ruben and myself, as part of a project, a preservation project with his land at Lol Bay in the Yucatan. We've been working with
Mhm,
his son, Cesar, to find
mhm.
ways to effectively preserve but also resurrect that space. It's also got a very, very strong and beautiful energy with
Yeah.
some powerful symmetries already on the grounds. Some
Mhm.
ceremonial site is very, very beautiful there. So, well, thank you so much for that. I had a feeling with those crystal skulls that there was some connection with Hunbats directly.
For
So
sure. Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
I would love to invite Ruben as well if he has any questions or any things he'd like to ask. I did have one other thing to share, and maybe again, Ruben, if you have anything to add as well. But I wanted to present this as well as some of the materials that you've authored related to this work, just to showcase that for folks who might be interested. Those materials are also be accessible on the website. So in this particular image here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. If I may, yeah, this is the story of us,
Sure.
which started in what we call Atlantis, Atlantics, in about 66,000 years ago, and so that's it's a series of books that are systematically published every 5 years. But so far, we have published four of them, and they're in a bundle right now on the website. So I appreciate you giving that much time of your broadcast to expose all of this, because they're timely um, service to the people, mathematically written with specific numbers and things that their memory triggers to activate that DNA knowledge that people can convert into wisdom. So
Mm.
thank you very much for sharing.
Oh, absolutely. It's our pleasure. I mean, I look forward to getting my bundle so I can get my own frequencies aligned properly as well. But we truly appreciate love your presence on the planet for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ruben, of course, if you'd like to add anything.
Yeah, I would like, especially for our audience that may don't know what is the sixth sun of solar consciousness. That's how Jose Arguelles also referred to this new cycle that we started in 2012, 2013, that junction point. And what is, how can you summarize or explain to people who are new to this information, what is the sixth sun and why is it important?
Yeah, so as you all know, those of you who are following the cycles, we you know that we enter the fifth sun in 2012. We are living through the fifth sun, through the fifth world. And so we're looking forward to the sixth sun, which happens on December 21st, 26,000 years from 2012. And so this calendar is really to discount those cycles. Uh, Two predictions or prophecies stick to mind from this specific teachings is the female nation steps up and leads the world to interstellar harmony. So what that means is really within 400 years, we become an interplanetary society, we become an intergalactic society, and we become an interstellar society. So this calendar system or these teachings of it prepares humanity to synchronize in harmony with all species known in the past and in the future. So it's a really exciting uh, tool for people to remember their star's origin, right? And more importantly, what's the purpose of you in this planet? 5 different tribes: balance, unity, joy, peace, and harmony. And so this calendar, the mathematical sequence is just like 1320. This one is 17 times 25. So it's a tool to reawaken spiritual DNA to remember your purpose in this lifetime, but also your origin in the ancient future in the interstellar pantheon, interplanetary, intergalactic. It also gives us a timeline where uh, we come into Mars and then on to the floating cities in Venus, creating a triangulation point with the moon and those two planets only then we will have the right ascension. Just like the right altitude and longitude in Earth, in space, we will be able to calculate the right ascensions to move forward outside of the galaxy into the universe and beyond. So this is really a tool for the spirit to understand that we are, have been, and always will be eternal time travelers. And those of you who want to embrace that, this is the time when we really step up to embrace that category of being. And then the question is always, what are you going to do with it? Yeah, so thank you for asking that question.
Wow. Seems like a remarkable invitation for us to step into that. Certainly feels very resonant with us. And, as we are approaching this golden intersection of timelines, I would be very interested in finding ways for us to synthesize and collaborate, however that manifests, in terms of space holding, making aware, making conscious, making sacred, in preparation for this window. We've been identifying this as a fairly remarkable moment of harmonic resonance for people to step into and to be available to. And so a place like you have, your sacred land space, is one great example of a place to be at this time when these energies are in alignment, rooted and grounded, connected to the elements of the earth, with the heart open wide. That's really the intention. We are planning some activities in the grounds at Palenque in Chiapas, Mexico, as one way to anchor the energy, and then connect with the folks around the world who are holding ceremony together with us in that awareness. So we really do look forward to unifying with you and your family and the community, wherever you may be at that sacred time. But we look forward to being connected with you with intention. For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that also in our cycles of the 13 moon calendar, we celebrate the day out of time that coincides with July 25. So another interesting point to see perhaps where you are and if you have any activities happening up there in the grounds at that time on the land. And maybe there's a point of collaboration or something we might be able to do together to celebrate and to anchor these new energies in that too. So we're excited to explore what anything of that nature may look like together, for certainly.
Yes, but the land is to be of service, just like we are. The land is really happy to host all of us to have a convergence here. An overnight fire looking into the east when the sun rises, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
It's an everyday thing, but it's a special celebration that we can do together. So yes, that's definitely on the table
Hmm.
for us to
Beautiful.
do that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, certainly with that, we are grateful and want to encourage folks to visit your website so they can learn more and follow you on social media, to really keep up with the great work you're doing and find if they have a resonance with the services you're providing. We want to encourage people to reach out, certainly to learn. And the bundle of books, is that now available through your website as well for people who do want to learn more of the science?
Yeah, you heard it first. All four books for $44, and easily accessible. Just Ancient Future 444. Just send it there.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, you heard it first. You heard it first, and it'll be on the website soon. But anyone who's ready now,
Okay.
please do.
Amazing. And you said Ancient Future 444 is
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
Venmo and PayPal.
okay.
That's how I get it.
We'll put that in the show notes as well, so people can find it in the description as well to connect with you there, particularly for that
Beautiful.
bundle. And thank you for the exclusive announcement of that through this platform. We feel honored for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
And there is one thing I'm being reminded by my beloved Ishel to highlight, because as you know, we identify people's galactic signatures. As we can see on the screen, your galactic signature is 219. in the dream spell codus. And so when we combine the three of us together, we get the galactic signature of 198. And what's interesting and auspicious about that is the guide for that signature happens to be our sun, Sirius Bodhi, Kin 42, which is today's galactic signature. So our guide happens to be my son of our combined signature. So I thought that was a beautiful synchronicity just to make conscious in this auspicious moment.
Yes.
And there's no mistakes in the mathematical world that we're following. It's really interesting. Thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you, thank you very much. And we do look forward to you getting a chance to meet him in person and him to play in the land and connect with the other children, and we connect with the community all in due time. But most certainly, I just want to thank you again for being with us this evening and taking the time to share with us some insights into what's happening. And if there's any message you'd like to offer to folks as we wrap this up, we'd love to invite you to share anything in your heart to share, or if it's a prayer or any other offering, feel free.
Yeah, I want to invite you all to get up at 4:44 a.m. and smile. Breathe in and smile, and be grateful for your existence and everything that exists. And I remember of the prayer of trust and respect everything and everyone in the universe. That will be my prayer. Thank you.
Well, we receive that. Thank you very much, dear brother. Absolutely. Folks out there on the live chat, you hear this, right? It's the invitation to get up at 4:44 a.m., wherever you may be, and smile and be grateful, right? I love it.
In resonance with the golden is beautiful and in resonance with the golden intersection, because that will mark the conclusion of 443 years of the Gregorian calendar and day one of the cycle 444. So we are entering into higher resonance with that harmonic of number 4.
And I'd like to say that I love what you guys are doing. So
Thank you.
I'm here anytime, and I want to say, I want to ask Kinichahao to bless your feet and your hands and your mind and your spirit and your words coming out to the world like butterflies and hummingbirds to be received in the people's hearts. Matiosh tat Matiosh na kushkahu kushleo Matiosh Kinichahao ahu Matiosh Kinichahao imosh Matiosh Kinichahao ik. Thank you for all of you do. I love your work. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so very much. We really, truly appreciate you. And we want to encourage folks to follow up with ancientfuturetechnologies.com, learn more about Tata Jose and his important sacred work on the planet, and know that 2208 is right now. So we give great thanks for that wisdom. That right there is more than enough to really build on. Be here now. And with that, be up at 4:40 a.m., 4:44 a.m., that is, and smile. We really appreciate that guidance. Dear brother, Tata Jose, thank you so much for your presence on the planet. Peace and love to you and your beloved family. And we look forward to being in person together with you very, very soon. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Matiosh tat. Thank you.
Well, that was a remarkable conversation, beautiful exchange. I'm so grateful for his presence on the planet. And just, wow, we are in good company. That's all I can say. So we give great thanks for that. And as you can see, looking on the screen, like we like to identify, we are 162 days today from, at this present moment, from the golden intersection of timelines. And yet auspiciously, we also know that many of our relatives in the future are 161 days away today. And that happens to be another beautiful fractal of 161803. So the timing of this entire ceremony is impeccable. It's impeccable. And we genuinely give thanks for everybody who is tuning in and staying tuned and tapping in with us every 7 days, just learning along with us as we're all learning and growing together in this process. So I want to give a shout out especially to our team, Alejandra, and to Ishel, who really anchor this. I really see them as the women who are leading, even if they're leading from behind the scenes. We are nothing without their presence and participation in this effort. So we really want to acknowledge them, as neither one of them like to be on camera very much. They put us up front. They're like, you guys go up front and do all the talking. We're going to do all the magic making behind the scenes. And all the beautiful imagery and the visuals you see come courtesy of our team. And so we give really great thanks for the creative force that they truly are.
Yes.
And as we also know, not only will tomorrow mark a fractal of the golden intersection, but next episode will actually be the golden intersection of this entire ceremony. So we will be at that 8-13 ratio, basically the phi ratio between the 8 and 13 parts of this experience. And so I don't have any idea what next episode is going to hold, but I promise it's going to be in harmony. This I do know, because everything is in perfect order.
This episode was such a beautiful expression of that harmony, that it comes organically without effort and just happens.
Yeah.
And we give thanks for that, and that's the magic, really, that when we do without doing, and we just become available, really, for the universe to express herself, himself, and we give thanks for this opportunity to bring this live without scripts and without having had any much of prior contact with Tata Jose. Such grace, such grace to have this conversation in such a fluid way.
Yeah, truly blessed. And so we are absolutely grateful for that. And we want to encourage folks to, if you want, visit the petition. We like to present that to you every episode, just to remind you of the Calendar Referendum Initiative 2028 and the effort underway to make the shift to a true harmonic standard from this global civil standard that we know is in its, it's being wrapped up with a beautiful bow. And as you mentioned earlier as well, this being the 443rd year, come October 15th, we'll celebrate essentially the 443rd year of the Gregorian calendar and enter then the next day the 444th year. In counting that, one thing we have recognized, and we mentioned this in a previous episode, is that by the year 2030, we will have arrived at 448 years of the Gregorian calendar, by which time I'm energizing the idea that entire calendar conundrum will be contained within the warrior's cube and transmuted forever and ever. Amen. That is the goal. That is the goal of making any of this conscious, is that you first find that place in your own heart where it is not affected by that. It's not affected by the conundrum in consciousness, but it's a pure, clear channel anchored with the heart of the earth and the heart of the cosmos. That's what we're intending. And that by the time we do arrive at that 5-year marker from 2025 to 2030, the entire frequency will be summed up in a beautiful higher harmony. And that's really the goal. When you look at the numbers, they imply the frequency perfectly, because 4 plus 4 plus 8 is 16. We know that 16 28-year cycles will be completed in the year 2030. And we also know that 16 is a fractal of the golden ratio. So you can't mess it up. all we really are called to do, as Tata Jose invited, is wake up at 4:44 a.m. and smile with gratitude. That's great guidance right there. Because at that moment, we're in the frequency range of heart-centered love containment that nothing beyond that can mess with, really and truly. So we do invite folks to participate full out in your own liberation through these technologies, the technologies you were already born with. Just let that light shine and let that light activate you from within.
Yes. And our next episode would be on precisely on the 11th day of this 11th month. It's a 11/11 portal. And it is going to be King 49, the red planetary moon, which happens to synchronize with the Wesak full moon. So it's going to be a planetary moon with a full moon. And let's remember that the Wesak day is the celebration of the birth, the enlightenment, and the death of the Buddha. There's going to be festivals all around the planet. So when we go live, we hope that we are giving you this heads up. We will go deeper into the importance of that in the next episode. But just do something, connect with your Buddha nature, and ask for the well-being of all beings on planet Earth on that day, on 7 days. And well, do that every day. Really, we encourage everyone to do that every day. But that day, we join the telepathic network and the heart network that is being emanated from all the people around the world who are in prayer and ceremony. So this is a very beautiful portal. 49 is also 7 times 7. It corresponds to the Bardo cycle of the Buddha. So it's one synchronicity after another for that day. So high, very high frequency.
And speaking of beautiful portals, we invite you to visit our website, theharmonicfactor.com/golden-intersection, for all the information you need to know about the golden intersection of timelines. This will also be a resource for people tuning in to future details about the in-person events that we'll have more information about soon to be able to share with you all out there. You can also go to this page and access the white paper that we published relative to the golden intersection of timelines, inviting interdisciplinary observation of these factors that we've been curating and covering and talking about and presenting about for really the past 4 or 5 years. So obviously more recently with this podcast, we were really getting more specific about this just to prepare ourselves and prepare our communities to really meet this moment in the most appropriate way. So we invite you to tune in to the materials you'll find there, as well as continue to share this information far and wide. We want to really grow a critical mass of people participating with us in that window. Really, if we look at the window, it's October 12th and 13th, then the 14th and 15th, because you have Indigenous Peoples Day observances in the South and in the North in the days preceding. And so, as we've been doing for the past 5 years with Planet Restoration, PR 1328, our collaborator Bilal Abdul Samad, and others, we've been anchoring an energy of aligning with Earth, aligning with the day out of time, aligning with Indigenous Peoples Day, aligning with Biogenetic New Year. And in particular, this 5th year in this ceremonial process, we have the beautiful, special, added harmonious layer of align with Git, align with the golden intersection of timelines. We didn't plan this either. We've merely just been listening and doing our best to stay tuned and follow the resonance. But it has guided us to this point, and we are tremendously grateful to be able to bring this to others and awaken that awareness of oneness, that alignment with the essential in any way that we can. So we give great thanks for all of you out there. And again, we encourage you to visit our website, where you will also be able to download the 13 Moon 28-day harmonic synchronometer. We will have a new version of that available soon for the coming year, the yellow resonant seed year. And at the same time, there's a lot of fantastic information in this document, so it's still worth downloading just to have it in your archives as a record. There's still a couple of moons left, in fact. We're still navigating this current year. So as we do, we invite you to continue joining with us in consciousness and tracking each day along with us. And we're also at the beginning of the new Zolkin count for the traditional calendar, which begins in a few days. We're going to begin also identifying in our social media just the traditional Maya vigesimal long count markers for each day. Because again, as we prepare for the next essentially 160 days from that point, it's just something to make conscious and to really root our consciousness in the frequency awareness of the amazing synchronization underway. And this is the kind of thing that, there may not be a lot of people aware of it, but certainly those who are tuning in, it's a matter of resonance. It's not a matter of the numbers as much as it's a matter of the quality of attention given to these synchronizing factors. But we certainly invite you to encourage and invite other people to tune in as well, to certainly tune in with us here every 7 days on this podcast broadcast. And we look forward to what the future holds, because again, 2208 is now.
Yes.
I love that wisdom. Love that one.
Yeah, me too. And we give thanks also to everyone who are giving their love contributions or donations. We really appreciate every single donation. It really helps us to keep this work going and keep developing materials for the new generation. So if you feel inspired, you feel that some of what we share today and doing these on our social media, it's useful for you and you can learn something, please also consider giving back anything, just to keep the energy flow and to keep us inspired.
Well, thank you, my dear brother. It's, as always, been a wonderful time to meet and connect and share with the human family. Special shout out to those hanging out with us this evening in the live chat. Thank you, Ishel and Alejandra and all our relatives helping anchor and guide this process from the heart. And we really, really appreciate all of you out there tuning in. So until next time, wake up at 4:44 a.m. and smile with gratitude in your heart. That's all we can say. We give special thanks to our dear guest this evening, Tata Jose, as well. So be sure to tune in and stay tuned. All right? We give thanks.
Tune in with the Galactic Spin podcast and expand your view. Galactic Spin podcast and expand your view.